So I am about 2 weeks from launching my new sweater, Sweet Whispers Tee. And during testing, I realized that my armhole drop was too low. So I changed the pattern and I realized that I wanted the sweater to reflect the change, of course. So last night, I frogged the sweater and steamed the yarn so it's not so noodly. This ball right here is from the sleeve, and as you can see, the yarn gets very like a noodle. So once you steam it, it straightens it out. It's a very easy and fast way to reuse your frog yarn. So here it is. I'm going to attempt to remake the sweater in the correct pattern now because the pattern has changed just very slightly, but I need the sweater to be correct. So last night I cast it on and I joined in the round, and I'm doing the neck trim again. The neck trim during the testing was a little loose on some of the testers, so instead of changing the whole numbers, I'm just making the suggested needle size to be a little bit smaller, so that will bring it in, but not still kind of keeping the scoop neck shape. So this is the size 1, US size 1 needle in the round, and now I'm doing the ribbing for the neck trim. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks, or maybe less, I will make the Sweet Whispers tee. If you want to follow it with me, join. Welcome. So during the testing, I wanted to do another version of the Sweet Whispers tee, and I had 2 skeins of undying yarn from Ritual Fibers, and I thought maybe I'll have enough. Maybe if I run out, I'll just make this the body length shorter. I ran out fairly early in the game. I mean, I could finish the body. I actually worked the body length to almost to the hem trim, and I realized I don't have enough yarn for the sleeve, so I went ahead and did one sleeve. It's a very short sleeve, just a few rows, so it doesn't take that much yarn. I didn't do the other one yet, but I only have this much left, and I didn't even do the hem trim. So when I wear it, it's a little shorter than I'm comfortable with. Let me try this on. Love the sleeve. I just have to do the other one, which might take a lot of whatever's leftover yarn for that. And I have this, which, am I comfortable with this length? Probably not. Which means I need another skein of undying yarn, except I think they're in the process of dyeing the undyings right now. So I'm gonna have to put this on hold. But this is in the correct pattern. Needle size, the row height, the armhole drop. I wanted it to be not too high but not too low. So this actually, once you put the cuff on or the sleeve on, it's actually perfect. And then you still get the drama sleeve. The neck trim is nice and scoop but not too open. I really like how this comes out, and it's this is a cotton linen yarn, and it's pretty much equivalent to a fingering wool yarn, and it's going to be great for the summer, for the warm weather. But it's a little short. Could I get away with it? Maybe? I'm thinking. We'll see. This is a long tail cast on method, and when you join in the round for long tail cast on, it's fairly easy because you get this stitch at the bottom, and you just have to make sure that it's facing one way and it's not twisted like that. So if you just hold the two needles, crisscross them together, this is when you join. Obviously I already joined, and if you just kind of just run your hand through and make sure all the stitches are facing, or this ridge is facing one way, then you're good. And obviously I should have put a marker at the beginning of the round, but I didn't do that. I will do that on the next round. This one was a purl, so now I'm doing a knit, purl, and this one, and this will just go around like this, one by one rib for, I forget how many, 4 rows? 5? Something like that. And I found these little tiny markers that I'm really enjoying. This is from Knit Picks. It comes in a tin can like that. And they're great. They're not too thick. They're these tiny little things. Easy to get lost, I guess, but it's really small that you can switch it over without leaving a big gap on your stitches. I've been using these kind of stitch markers, these doorknob key looking things, but this part gets in the way when it kind of twists and moves around. But the circly, the round things doesn't really do that. This sweater I can show you has a scallop neck edge trim, which is really pretty on, and it's a fairly easy stitch to execute. The cuff also has a version of that. Obviously it's a bind off as well as a scallop edge, so it's a little different, but it kind of still has a very similar effect. And I had a lot of testers who put this trim detail at the hem, which the pattern didn't really call for, but I thought that was really cute. So you could do that as an option too. So now that I have a few rows of ribbing, I'm going to do the scallop edge detail. You could do this detail, you could just leave it as a rib, but it's really cute with it. It looks like this. And I have a full tutorial video of how to do this, but you basically twist the whole needle around. So, whoops. So you basically bring this whole needle and just wrap it around. And you grab the first stitch off the needle and you bring it back. And that way it just squinches the ribbing. And you put that back on the needle and then you work a rib. And you can determine how far apart or how wide the scallop edge trim you want. I think for this stitch I did it every 6 stitches. But obviously you could do as narrow as you want or as wide as you want. You just won't get the scallop detail if you do it too wide, like if it's, you know, squinched over here, but it could be cute too. One, two, three, four, 5, and then on the 6th one you do the same thing. You just bring the whole thing over, grabbing the stitch and bringing it back. What it does do though, it kind of pushes this rib forward and folds it in half like this. Later on, when you have all the scallop edges, for example for this one, because the cotton yarn is pretty thick, I kind of dip one of these and just try to make it not as not folded like that so you lose the scallop, but just kind of opening it up so you get the full effect of the scallop. So the wool yarn doesn't really do that. It doesn't really fold in half like the cotton yarns do. It is a little bit more forgiving. See? Super cute. So I have the yoke part is done, and now I am ready to split for sleeve. I have these markers placed already that tells me where the front body is, where the back body is, and where the sleeves are. So once you split the sleeve, going in the round, it'll be a lot less needles, a lot less stitches, because the sleeve is a very full flutter sleeve, and this is how much the sleeve will be. So it should take a lot of the stitches out. So that was half of the back body. This now, from this marker to the next, these stitches will be put on hold for sleeve. Before I do that, I like to cast on the underarm stitches. And the way I like to do it is using the backwards loop cast on method, which is you're just twisting the yarn in this direction and just grabbing the loop that is made. So that's 1, that's 2, 3, 4, and you just keep doing that until the amount of cast on stitches that the pattern calls for. So I like to cast on at the underarm first, because if I do it later, sometimes I forget. So I do the cast on first, and then I use this rubbery stitch holder thing with that it's hollow, and you just place the needle in like this and just try to squish it in as much as you can, because if you pull it, it could come off, and you don't want that to happen while you're transferring the stitches over. Just ever so gently move the stitches over like that. Once you get to the marker, just pull that out. And those stitches. Now I'm ready to continue knitting the front, and make sure the cast on stitches isn't twisting. So right now it's twisting, so I want to make sure this is in the same direction. Okay, so I have a few more rounds of lace to go for the body, but I can now see where the underarm will be, and I don't like a really high armhole, especially on a warmer short sleeve sweater. So I think it hits at a good spot. The sleeve will decrease a little bit when you work the short sleeve, so it will go up more, so it'll close in at the armhole a little bit. And this is what it looks like. I'm liking the fit. The sleeve is going to be super cute. The body will just get a little bit longer, and then I'll start the ribbing. It was a very quick knit. I did rush to get it done, but I think I started on Thursday, today's Sunday, so it took 4 days. Probably need another day to just finish up, but yeah, so far so good. I also just wanted to quickly show that I finished the undying yarn version. This is cotton linen from Ritual Dyes, and I only had 2 skeins of this, so I just finished it off. However, whatever I had, and this is how much yarn I had left over of the 2 skeins. It is short, but I really like it. I finished it off with a shorter rib and a scallop edge trim, just like the sleeve. And it's really cute. I actually really like this length. I didn't block it yet. I think it might grow a little bit, but not really, because this is a cotton linen. But it's a really good summer shirt, a summer tee. So here's the hem ribbing, and now I am up to the sleeve. I have placed the stitches onto a needle, and now I have to pick up the stitches at the underarm. And the way I do the underarm stitch pickup is you look at the very edge stitch right here, and this is the last stitch right here, and this is the first cast on stitch. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So this is also the stitch that I pick up. You can pick up 2 strand like that, but I find that it gets a little lumpy under the arm, and it seemed to be enough for me anyway to just pick up that 1 strand right here. So the pattern will call for to pick up certain amount of stitches, which is half of the cast on stitch here. So you'll start the cast on in the middle and then go around the sleeve. And in order to figure that out, I like to start at the edge, figure out which is the last stitch. So this is number 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5. So here I can place a marker or just place my needle in there. I'm going to grab the yarn, and then I start knitting. So here's the first knit, and I always just double it up, leave a little end, and then I twist, knit. That's the first one. The next one is the stitch next to it, 2, 3, and notice I'm only picking up just 1 stitch like that. 4, and I hate weaving in the ends, so I just twist it and knit the end together for the first few stitches, and that will hold. and it'll help weave in the ends together. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And before I pick up the 10th stitch, it does tend to get stretched out, and then you have this section before you do the next stitch on the needle. So what I like to do is grab the 10th stitch, grab the strand that's in the middle, and make sure it's twisted. So instead of picking up like this where there's extra hole, you can twist it and knit those two together like that, and knit those two together. This is the 10th stitch, and it will close up a little bit, and then you kind of pull, so that'll close up the stitch a bit. See? So here I'm going to do the same thing. This stitch that's going horizontally is the first stitch that I need to pick up from the cast on, but you notice there's a lot of space in between, which will make a big hole. So I'm going to pick up that stitch and grab one of this stitches, maybe twist it, and then knit them together as the first stitch. That's 1, 2, 3. I'm going to place a beginning of the round marker. And then for the first stitch that I pick up, there will be a strand here that was from the first pickup stitch, but I like to knit that together with the first one just because it's been pulled because it was the first stitch. So I like to knit those two together. It just helps close up all the holes and make it neater. And because you only picked up one strand, the back is fairly neat and not too bulky. So this is the Sweet Whispers tea. This is done in J'adore Fibers hydrangea colorway. I used, how many skeins did I use? Just under 2 skeins. It is a scoop neck, scallop edge, with shirring on either side of the shoulders, with all over very simple pointelle stitch, and these stitches creates the increase, and there's a lot of stitches because of the sleeve is very fluttered, but once you split for the underarm, it's a fairly easy and fast knit for the body. You can adjust the length however you want. The sleeve is a fairly short sleeve, so that goes really fast. I actually knit this, I think it took me 5 days. So, I mean, I was rushing it, but it's a fairly fast and easy knit. It's really comfortable. I did make the armhole of the design a little bit lower than normal because I wanted it some airflow. But yeah, it's a great, easy, breezy summer tee. I hope you enjoy the pattern. I hope you enjoyed following me along on this knit. I love it. I hope you love it too. I'm back. So this is the cotton linen undying yarn version. This is the quartzite colorway from Undying Ritual Fibers. And I had 2 skeins of this yarn and I used the full 2 skeins. The body is a little cropped, but it's a really cute length. I did a size 3, which is my size, and I did a simpler hem for this one. I did the scallop edge trim. I did a shorter ribbing than the pattern calls for, and then I did a scallop edge, just like the sleeve. And it's a really cute cropped top. And because it's a cotton linen, it is a heavier, thicker fabric, but it's not wool, so it's a cooler fabric for the summer. And it is hot today. So I think I'll be wearing this today.